Hi, this is Enki35, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about um, the blood types. And the reason why I'm putting this out is because an old friend of mine um, ended up putting out a video on blood types. And he's stating that um, humans are pretty much just like animals, and that he's stating that we all have the same blood. So it doesn't matter if you have Rh negative blood or Rh positive blood, that we all come from animals. Okay, so he's pretty much saying that everyone's the same. They all bleed red blood. Everybody bleeds the same. Even animals bleed. And but that is the furthest from the truth that you can get, is that we all have the same type of blood. So today I'm going to explain the difference between the Rh negative blood factors, and I'm going to explain the Rh positive blood factors, and what scientists have been confused about and are stumped on, because the Rh negative factor has been one of the most mysterious blood types in the world. And the reason why this blood type is mysterious is because they cannot find the source of where this blood actually came from. So I'm going to start out with the positive blood and what it is and what the Rh factor actually is, because 85% of the human beings on the earth have Rh positive blood. And so when a person has Rh positive blood, it just means that their red blood cells contain a protein called the rhesus blood factor. So this protein is linked to the rhesus monkey. This protein is attached to the red blood cells, and it can be found um, in 85% of the human beings on the earth. And these genes, or this factor in the blood, can it actually is related to all earthly primates. They all have the Rh factor. So a positive person, A positive, B positive, AB positive, O positive person has the rhesus monkey gene in their blood. So the difference between the Rh negative factor means that the O negative, A negative, B negative, AB negative, those blood types do not have the rhesus monkey gene. They do not have the protein connected to their cells. And out of the really rarest and purest blood out of the Rh negative blood type is called O negative blood types. Now, this O negative blood type is called the universal blood. And in this blood, they can give their blood to all mankind. And if something happened to someone, they needed a transfusion, it doesn't matter if they are positive or if they are negative. O blood negative can give to all people on the earth because it is a universal blood. And the interesting part about this blood is that the people that have this blood type that can save all kinds of blood types cannot take any blood from any other people than its own blood type, which is O negative. Doesn't matter if you're A negative, B negative, AB negative, they cannot take any other blood type but their own. And that is fascinating. So the universal blood that saves mankind and can give to all cannot take any from any other person except for their own. So only 7% of O negative people that have this universal donor blood exist in the world today. And that's out of the 15%. So the other 8% are the A and the AB and the B blood types. But this O negative blood type is less than 7%. So really equals 5%. Some say 5% in the world's population. So scientists have been trying to make a synthetic blood of the Rho negative blood type, and they can't make it. They haven't succeeded at it. And what's really interesting is that even though they can clone the proteins in positive blood, they cannot clone the O negative blood, and they cannot find the origin, and they don't know how to clone it because there is no protein connected to the O negative cell gene. They cannot clone it. It's just amazing. So it's like, where did this blood come from? It's interesting because they don't know where this blood came from. They cannot connect this blood to the earth. So there is a huge difference with a blood that cannot be connected with any animal on the earth. So I just wanted to correct my friend that all blood is not the same. I just find it really interesting that the Rh negative blood types cannot be linked to this earth by any scientist. So because of this, it seems that this blood came from somewhere else, because we aren't connected to the monkey, which means that although we have the evolution theorists that try to say that we all evolved from apes, that might be correct in some cases because of the fact that the Rh positive shows a protein that's linked to the rhesus monkey. But when it comes to this other bloodline, it doesn't show that they are linked to anything of this earth. They can't find this link. So this is a missing link right here. This is the missing link. I find this really, really fascinating. Where did this bloodline originate? And so scientists believe that the Rh negative factor is some type of mutation of an unknown origin that only happened a few thousand years ago, which is interesting if you want to think about, go back to Adam and Eve. Let's go back to Adam and Eve. This is a hypothesis. And it's really interesting to think about this because there's only a few people in the world that have this blood. So the people that have this blood are like the Basques in France and in Spain. And then we have the people in England. Also, Canadians have it, Australians, Ireland, Americans, after coming over here, they have this type of blood. And, there's very few types of people that have this blood, and it's like the African Americans, there's only a few people that have this blood type for their group of their race. And then we have some Asians that have this O negative blood type for their race. And then we have the different blood types in the Caucasian race as well, which is really interesting because then we have Mongolians, we have Caucasians, and we have Negroids in the skull shapes. And I find this really interesting because it's like as if this blood was put into each different race to save each race. It's very, very interesting, although they cannot link it to any particular being or human or animal on the face of the earth. So it's like that saving blood was placed in each race. And there's just few people that are there to save each race if they need it. The universal lifeline. I find that really interesting. The really interesting thing about Rh negative people is that when a mother ends up becoming pregnant, what happens is if the baby is positive, it's like the mother's body automatically wants to expel the positive blooded baby, and because it's like a foreign object in the mother's body, and so her body will start fighting the rhesus factor, and that's why they end up giving a mother that has an Rh positive child in her womb, they will give her a ROGAM shot, which protects the child from being destroyed and will also protect the mother from the intermingling of the blood, which will cause the mother to die. And there's a disease that's caused by the blood mixing with the O negative mother. I'll have to, I think it's hemolactic or something like that disease. But if a mother is pregnant with a O negative baby or a negative baby, she won't expel that baby. It's not a foreign object in her body. And this is really interesting. There are attributes of people that have the Rh negative blood, and they all have similarities. And the similarities of the bloodline of the O negatives is that they either have blonde, red, or they could even have black hair, but they mainly have like blue eyes or green or hazel eyes that change colors. They have like low blood pressure, and they have really good eyesight, and they have good hearing. They also have a very high IQ, and they are interested in the phenomenons like paranormal activities. They are interested in UFO connections or psychic capabilities. They are interested in spirituality. And they also feel like they have a sense that they do not belong here or belong to the human race. And they also sometimes have extra ribs or an extra vertebrae. They are empathetic to illnesses. They have compassion for mankind. They have a sense of a mission in life. And they also sometimes feel that they do not belong to this world, or they disrupt, it states that they disrupt electrical appliances. What my friend's stating is that all blood's the same and that we all came from the animal kingdom. But as far as this blood type has nothing to do with the animal kingdom. This blood type has nothing to do with, obviously, this earth. And that's why they can't find it. And that's why scientists are stumped, because they can't find it. So is this the missing link? Are these people the sons of God? Are the people with the O negative blood type from the line of Adam? Are these the people that are the special line that it talks about in the Bible? I find this really interesting. And this has nothing to do with racial stuff. So I don't want people thinking that this is being racist. This is just, we're just talking about blood types and factors. In the science community, I believe that all of the O negative people are being linked, keeping tabs on these people that have this bloodline. And because it is an important bloodline, and it's the only type of blood that can be given to all. It's really interesting. This is so amazing. This is such a deep subject. You can go all kinds of places with this. Are they like star children? Are they holy people that it speaks about? Because I've gone really deep into the Bible and Genesis, and how a lot of things, even outside the Bible, actually correlate to the beginning of man and all this other stuff. And it's really interesting in the Mesopotamian tales about how they had created the Adamu, which they called him Adamu. And this was the first one that they made. And they made him from the clay or the ground. And it states that mankind was created in clay vessels, and that they had taken this animal that walked upright, that could carry baskets, and fashioned man from this upright carrying basket called the Lulu Amilu. I find this really interesting, which would have been like an upright walking ape. And then there's another story of the story of Adapa, which was literally God's son that ended up being told in the ancient Mesopotamian tale that he was not to eat of the tree of life and death. And it takes you right back to the story of the Garden of Eden. And what's really interesting about this is that I've actually made some videos on this where Ningishita is supposed to, he's called the serpent of the good tree. And then we have Adapa that was told by his lord, Ea, not to eat of the tree. So he didn't. And it's the same thing, that except in a different way, that was spoken of in the Genesis of the first 5 books of the Bible, the Pentateuch. Eventually, I will get around to this again, but I just find this interesting how this bloodline comes from there. So some people also try to proclaim that the descendants of Cain, Cain is supposed to have been the son of the devil, or Satan, I should say. and that his mother was Eve. But I have to disagree with that, because in this instance, if you actually understand about the ancient tale of Adam and Eve, you would know that it's actually related to a creation story where Ninti, which is called Lady Rib, is the mother of them all. And Ninti is a goddess. Ninti was the spouse of Ea, and it actually corresponds with the Apsu and Tiamat. It goes down the line, but it was actually Anki and Nama. It's really interesting. I put out a video on this about the creation and all this stuff, and about Adam and Eve. It's called Anunnaki Gods. Who is Apsu, Abzu, Ea, Anki? It's really interesting. But let me get back to the blood. Some people try to say that these people are reptilians, and that because they have this blood type, I just think that's absolute nonsense. To the people that have this agenda with reptilians, and they're trying to state that the people that have this blood type has something to do with the children of Satan. And if that's the case, that people with this universal blood that saves people has anything to do with Satan, I'd have to completely disagree, because if they have universal blood for all to save mankind, I believe they're special people. Some people believe in aliens, or I would call them sons of God, because God in the Bible states that there are sons of God. These are the ones that in the Hebrew Bible states that he chose them. They did not choose him. He chose them because he created them, and he chose a particular people to be there for himself, and that they were supposed to be a peculiar people. And I believe it's in Deuteronomy, if I remember correctly, right off the top. A peculiar people unto him. Now, this is very peculiar that these people have O negative. So these people are supposed to be peculiar. And like I said, that the Basques in Spain and southern France, and then we have England, then we have Australia and Canadians and Americans, Ireland, and then we also have the Jews. They have this blood, and people have to realize that they spread out. But anyway, I just wanted to make this really quick, because I just wanted to let my friend know that he's incorrect when he says that all blood types are the same, that all of our bloods are the same. It doesn't matter if you're Rh negative or Rh positive, that we're all the same. We bleed the same blood. That is not true. That is the furthest from the truth there is. And it has nothing to do with racism. It has to do with the fact of the Rh factor and the missing factors. The fact is that the Rh positive factor shows a linking to the animal kingdom, which shows that it has a relation with the primates, but the Rh negative does not. And that's the mystery. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you later. I hope you, if you have any questions, this is a really interesting subject. I love these kind of subjects. It's, I don't have all the answers to this. I just find this really fascinating about this bloodline. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I will be talking with you soon. This is Zinky35.